Good morning. Welcome to the Seneca County Commissioner meeting, July 28th, 10 a.m. We'll open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, prayer. Either one of you?
Sure.
I'll do it. Commissioner Kirschner.
Please join me in a short prayer. Heavenly Father, we ask for your guidance today as we review the needs of the people that we serve in Seneca County. We thank you for a beautiful summer day. We ask that in a special way you watch over those who are protecting our freedoms and their families. We ask all this through your Son. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Paradiso,
Present.
Commissioner Schuff,
Here.
Commissioner Kirschner.
Here.
Okay, with that, I will accept the motion to approve the digital audio recordings from our previous board session from July 14th, and that was our regular session meeting and the meeting that night for EMS.
So moved?
And I will second.
Commissioner Kirschner,
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff,
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso.
Yes, thank you. So we'll jump right into the agenda, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to welcome Tiffin's new mayor, Dawn Iannituno. And would you like to come up, please, and say a word or two? Be great. And I see you brought Nick and his
And his assistant.
assistant.
She is an excellent
I
assistant.
saw her bright and early this morning at the meeting earlier in the day.
You would not know she's around. She's wonderful.
Calvin
Well
shirt.
behaved.
Well, thank you for the invitation to be here this morning. It's a pleasure. And since I know all of you, I know people are concerned that with the other mayor leaving, that what will Tiffin do? I love the past mayor. We get along great. I know all of you. We will be just fine. And so we are moving forward, everyone. And it's a great day in Tiffin.
Okay,
So
well,
thank you for inviting me this morning.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
I think the biggest
Yeah.
thing now, people are struggling with pronouncing the last name. So,
I heard it on WTTF this morning.
yeah,
I heard
did they do
Tony
it
just
correctly?
now. Should I get out my visual aid that I showed the W Channel 11? It's Iannituno. Iannituno,
with the Y.
yes.
Yeah, that's Italian, yeah.
Yep. And so we'll work on that, but that's why I tell everybody, just call me Mayor Dawn. It saves butchering the name.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming, and we wish you well, and look forward to working with you.
I
We have a lot
look
of
forward to
things-
working with you
A lot of
as well.
things in common and working together, so thank you.
We're all working
Anything
great
else?
together, and I do not want to stop that forward motion, so.
Good.
We'll
Anything
continue.
else you want to ask us? Are you good?
Nope, we're good.
Okay,
I've
thank
been
you.
on top of everything. Nick is keeping me well scheduled. I've met all of our department heads the other day. I'm continuing that process tomorrow, so I will be through all departments and their staff
I see
by
all
tomorrow
of it.
afternoon.
Saw you at the fair, saw you this morning's meeting, so you
I
hit
have
the
been
ground running.
everywhere.
Yeah, I know, you were-
Well, welcome, and please know we're only a phone call away or a walk down the street away. We're happy to work with
I've
you.
walked your choice this week.
There you
so
go.
I have tennis shoes on. I plan on walking everywhere I possibly can. And I'll be stopping in businesses too when I'm coming up and down the street, so.
Thank you.
Good.
Stopped in one on my way here, so.
I know you have a busy day, so if you want to leave, you're not going to offend us.
I'll wait to your executive session.
Okay.
And
all
then
right,
do a
but
graceful exit.
Your choice, thank you.
Thank you for inviting me this
You
morning.
bet.
Are we ready for First Energy update?
Sure.
Can you come on up? Welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks so much for your time. Nick Hatsaris. I'm with First Energy. So I handle the Ohio Edison area. I know you all primarily work with Victor Coleman, so he's my counterpart in the Toledo Edison area. So more than anything, just wanted to make sure that you all knew who I was. If any of the residents in the county who do have Ohio Edison are having any issues whatsoever, just want to make sure that you knew a person to contact. I can leave you some of my cards right here. So happy to help any which way that I can. I know Victor Coleman you primarily work with, but just another resource within First Energy that you could reach out to answer any questions you have. So thanks again so much for your time.
It's nice seeing somebody in
Perfect. Thanks
person.
for being here.
Yeah, I know. I try. I have so my primary area. So I have Lorain County out to Port Clinton down to this area. So about 100 communities. So try to be out and about every single day, seeing as many people as I can. Especially now that the world is opening up as much as possible. So glad to be out of my house. My wife is too. So yeah, so that's a good thing.
Thanks
So
for coming down.
yeah, thanks so much.
Any Any
When
comments?
he first walked in, I was like, he's lost Planet Fitness's ass.
Oh yeah. So keep,
Well, I know
keeps
it's-
me out of trouble.
So knows
So
Mike from Lorraine.
yeah,
In an argument somewhere, I want you on my side.
I try. I don't know. It's more. I don't know if there's any functionality to it. It's all looks like us. So, but like I said, don't hesitate to call me anytime. Happy to help. Any which way that I can. If you can't get a hold of Victor, or if you need another answer, just get a hold of me. So
Good.
thank you so
for
much.
being here.
Thanks for
Yeah,
coming.
thank you.
You're welcome to sneak out anytime.
Yeah, I'll
you
wait
want.
till executive session. That would be
Okay,
perfect.
thank you. So, we're kind of at that point, we could go into executive session or table it and then go down into commissioner reports.
It's up to you.
Any preference from anybody?
Well,
It'll only take 5
let's do
minutes.
as much of the, you want to do executive session for 5 minutes?
Well, it's real quick.
Okay.
If we get through,
So-
if we get through our reports, they can hear them and then go on their way after.
Let's do the reports and then we'll go in executive session and those can leave. That's okay?
Either that or we can do the reports, yeah.
Yeah, let's do the reports. You got it. See, it's fun up here.
We don't live up to the
Commissioner
city's
report.
expectations.
Yeah.
Mr. Schaaf,
You're
you're up.
official.
Yeah, it's been a very eventful week. Had the grand opening of the fair this week, which was very well attended. It's the 180th year for the Seneca County Fair. Don't even know where to start as far as thanking people goes, but a huge thank you to the volunteers, the Seneca County Fair board staff, all the work they do. I mean, it takes so many people and so much orchestration to keep this event going. They were rocking last night. I could hear the concert all the way from my house on South Washington Street. So it seems like people are having a really great time out there, and it's nice to go out there and meet with constituents and hear the citizens' concerns. Also spent some time over in Fostoria this week. Had their lunch on the lawn. Ran into Mayor Keckler. We went over some items, but they had music out there on the front lawn. Stopped in, got to also see some of the people at the Chamber of Commerce over there and get some updates on what they're working on. So I think you'll see some exciting things coming out of that area of the county here pretty quickly. Also, wanted to congratulate Cheyenne Thacker, our newest city council person, and also Mayor Dawn, as she wants to go by. We had a rodeo out there at Copper Mare Ranch this last weekend, which would have been out in Pleasant Township. So I was told that was well attended as well. A lot of things going on here in Seneca County. Also wanted to just make mention here, I met with, or been having discussions with Prosecutor Derek Devine. Was asking him some questions on the facade program that we're working on. So we got the thumbs up on that, but I'm not ready to quite introduce that yet. I want to get past this next budget season, see where we're sitting financially, get those things addressed as we enter into my second budget season, but just kind of wanted to let the public know what we're working on. But looking forward to getting that program out there eventually, but want to see where we're at financially after the budget. So that's all I have for now.
Good.
Yeah, well, we spent a little bit of time at the fair, every day. A little bit, I get a different perspective this year. We've got some grandbabies, thank God, and going to horse shows and pig scrambles and things that you don't ordinarily do. But it seems to me that the attendance is significant out there. I know Bill back there is working hard in one of the booths. I don't think I can mention that from a partisan standpoint, but working very hard at that. And there's been a nice crowd all the way through. We will, once we break for executive session, you're probably going to want to stick around because we are going to talk about capital projects, and that's significant discussion because it'll be a big chunk of the American Rescue Plan money or a derivative of that, what's left from that we're able to spend on projects. So that'll be some pretty big news. And beyond that, I'll pass it on to you, Commissioner Paradiso.
Fair, opening day, Veterans Day, it was nice. Bill's popping popcorn out there at the tent, so if anyone wants to get some popcorn. You were busy, by the way. So we had a solid waste, district financial meeting, I'm on the financial committee, looking at next year's budget, kind of where we're trending this year. During that meeting, I brought up to our counterparts in Sandusky and Ottawa County, informally, kind of what's going on with Sunny Farms and some of the issues we have going on down here. So I think the three of us who sat on the Solid Waste District Board of 9, I want to make sure that our message from Seneca County, where the landfill is located, gets communicated, and so we can begin to get an understanding that at the Solid Waste District Board level as to what's going on down here. We have a good board, they're good people, but they're maybe not as up to date as we are down here with everything. So I thought that was a positive, and there'll be more discussions going forward. I did attend the rodeo at Copper Mare, and it was well done. It was exciting. I'd never been to one before. Unfortunately, there was a serious accident, and Life Flight had to come, and all you have to do is just watch those cowboys come out of the gate, and you know, it's just a matter of time. But so that was great for Seneca County. Really, really good. Went to the Destination Seneca County meeting this morning. Aaron was there, and Dawn just continued to get exciting news and great reports there. Bed tax is up. As our sales tax and the economy seems a little unsure, the hotels are full, and so that's a positive. And, yeah, so that's really where we're at for next week. We have normal meeting, right?
Mhm.
Next week. Okay, so
It starts at
be here.
9:30, so we have to do.
Normal meeting date, but it's
Right.
at 9:30. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Just for ditch hearing and, what was the other one?
Tougher.
Oh, the
We have to
bonding.
move it up to 9:30. Yes, we have a bonding hearing.
Yep.
Motion. Okay. County Administrator's report.
Just a couple things. I'm gonna start out with, the Justice Center. So we're assuming Sunday night's big storm, the Justice Center, had taken a hit. Our elevators for the main Justice Center are down. We had our normal contractor in, he tried a few things, and then we had to call in the initial installers when they build it, because there's some specific boards that they think got fried. So, judges are trying to either reschedule their hearings, or, if it's small, they'll go down to the first floor and try to help. So, we had one of the floors, the fobs got hit, the annex took a hit, their phone systems were down on Monday. So we're probably gonna have a decent claim coming with the Justice Center, but John thought it'd be good if I at least mentioned it, just because of if you happen to get your case rescheduled, or, something's going on, that, we do have our elevators down and working on getting those fixed as quick as we can, so.
Lady Justice is still okay? She didn't get
She
hit?
is,
Okay.
no, yeah.
All right.
If she sent it through, then she didn't get harmed. She's
Are the
still there.
phones working right now?
Phones are working.
Phones are up, so the
yeah.
elevators are still.
Our phone guys had the boards there that they just switched out the cards, and it seemed to work. We had that one phone that was dead, but when we purchased all of our phones, we had a few extra, so those were up pretty quick. So the phones were working.
Good.
I think there's one, because our annex and our Justice Center is tied. Even one phone got hit over at the RTA building too. So it's just kind of weird that we must have took a direct hit, and so
There's
we're
a
just
lot of
finding.
lightning.
It's Thursday, and we're still finding little things that we're
Yeah.
checking, but just wanted to give you guys an update on that. Teresa Sullivan stopped in to see us last week and gave us some official invitations to the 80th anniversary of the dedication of the museum to Seneca County. It will be Friday, August 5th, 2022, open to the public from 1 to 3 p.m. Ceremony to commence at 3 in the Fort Ballroom. So they're excited. The museum looks amazing. They keep going through, and they're into the second floor, and so it's exciting. It looks really good.
Really
We've had a
good.
lot of positive comments at the museum. So, and she also brought in, they did a school, New Regal schools came in. She wanted me to kind of show you, let you look through them. All the kids sent letters, thank you letters, appreciated how great it was, Ducky McQuacker and all the good things. So she just wanted me to make sure you guys seen,
great.
that good things are going on. And the kids, she just loves this stuff when she gets this from the kids. So, so I think that's really all I have today.
Okay, any old business? Anybody? We're good, so, executive session now?
Yeah.
So it's 10:16. Need a motion to go in executive session to talk.
I was so moved for the purpose of purchasing real estate.
There you go.
Second, Commissioner Kirchner's motion.
Roll call.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes. Should not take very long, we'll be right back. Okay, it's 10:20 and need a motion to come out of executive session.
I will so move.
Second?
Okay, so we met and we discussed purchase of some property, and we have that under an option agreement now, and we're going to direct the prosecutor to proceed to move forward with a purchase agreement. And so once we get that all put together, we'll bring it back for action.
So I'll put that in a formal motion that we ask the prosecutor to extend the purchase, or extend the option to now include a complete purchase agreement for property on State Route 224 that we'll review at our next meeting, all right?
You good with it?
I'll second the motion.
Any further discussion?
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Paradiso?
Yes. Thank you. So, new business.
Okay, you want to do new business or before the work session?
Yeah, we could.
Okay, that's fine.
I do,
Let me
yeah,
go
is that
back.
okay?
Yep, I just
Yeah.
pulled up my other stuff. Let me go back.
This is one continuous meeting,
Yeah.
but I think we may take a break before our work session.
Okay, so I have a few supplemental appropriations. The first one I have is from the prosecutor's office. I think in June, I brought you the letter. They had lost a couple employees that they used for the city prosecution. They do a contract with us, and you guys had approved it. This is just the first session we've been able to do since we've been back. So they're increasing the equipment line, anticipating, getting a couple new computers. So $2,000 in the equipment line. And then also for the salary lines, salaries $5,225.12, $75.76 for Medicare, and $731.52 for PERS. The next one I have is from Common Pleas to, this is for the jury, because we increased the fees on the jury fees, but somehow it got missed into the budget. Remember last year, 2021, Judge Schuff asked for additional.
Yeah.
So I have $1,500 in salaries, $21.75 in a Medicare, and $210 in PERS. What's my next one? From the engineer's office, needing an additional $20,000 in his stone line. Prices keep going up. My next request is for sewer district. Need an additional $105.82 in the Hammer Heidsman travel. $5.82 into the which one's this one? Travel for continuing education is one of the other sewer districts.
It's Brad Boer's
Fees.
continuing education
Okay.
that he's required to take every year. He's our service tech,
Okay.
so
And
we have to
split it between each of the districts?
Yep.
Or each of the, okay, so the other one is $96.20 for travel.
Good old Brad.
My next is supplemental appropriation for $2,200 into the transfer public assistance line. So we have a requirement for public assistance at Job and Family Services because their budget cycle switches mid-year instead of calendar year. We just estimate the costs at the beginning of the year. Usually the second half it gets trued up. So we were short $2,200 of our mandated share that we need to put in line to get it transferred. Sometimes we guess high, sometimes we guess a little low. So I have a request from Juvenile Probate Court. This is in their Delinquent Care and Custody Grant Fund. They need an additional $600 into the other expense line. Yep, okay. Making sure I got all of them.
Yeah,
And I
that's
have,
everything on our sheet.
okay, then I have the resolution authorizing the fund transfer to be made to the Public Assistance Fund. Transferring from the general fund, $66,186.50 to the Public Assistance Fund. I have a resolution authorizing the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to accept the bid with Erie Blacktop for the 2022 Seneca County Road 24 pavement resurfacing. The total amount of that bid was $967,893.48. And then I have a resolution approving the 20% administrative fees for the revolving loan fund retroactive to January 1st, 2021 to be distributed to the Seneca Regional Planning Commission. We thought we did this resolution at the beginning of the year last year, and it either got missed or it just wasn't there, so we had to do it retroactive to 2021. And these fees come directly in the program agreement. Do you want to explain any of that?
So the 20% fees come directly from the program agreement from ODSA for the revolving loan fund. So it's not like you get 20% of this great big pot of money. You just get 20% of what any loan is paid every payment. So every 20% of every monthly payment from a loan. So it's not like we get 20% of $1 million. And that just pays for our time to do the services that we do to manage the loans, market the program, review new applications.
State of Ohio sets that fee.
They sure do in the policy and procedure manual on page 10.
And that's all I have.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the new business supplemental appropriations and resolutions as presented by the county administrator.
Second,
Commissioner Kirschner?
yes.
Commissioner Schuff?
Yes.
Commissioner Frederickson?
Yes. Good job. Stacy, anything else?
Yep, that's all I have.
Okay, so let's open up for public comment. Anyone in the room here like to speak? Back, okay. Jimmy?
Yep, if you're joining us online and you'd like to come forward now during the public comment portion of the meeting, you can unmute your line and do that now.
Anybody from Highbridge on the line today? Why don't we have them give us a bit of an update?
I gotta.
See him on there?
We have a mute turned off, so.
Right.
He should be able to unmute. Maybe not. Oh, there he goes.
Good morning.
There he
Good
is.
morning.
Hey, Mike.
Technical difficulties over here. Sorry, you were muted on my end for about the last 2 minutes, so I apologize if I missed a question.
There wasn't any question, Mike, just anything new in Columbus?
Sure. No, thank you. So I think the big news of the day, as you all probably know, there is a statewide election in the various House and Senate districts next week on Tuesday. Senator Reineke is not up for election. Representative Click is. I don't believe he has a primary, but there are still races across the state that will be decided next week for the legislature, then off to the November election. It's very slow here at the moment because the legislature is not in session. There is some discussion of them coming back in September for a couple of days, but I would expect that is not likely to happen. So we are starting now, though. I think probably the big news is the governor's office is starting conversations and directing agencies to start preparing for next year's operating budget. I know that seems like a long way off, but it will be done less than a year from now, and it takes a long time and a lot of effort to spend over $70 billion. So if we want to start thinking about things that may be either funding adjustments or policy changes that would be of benefit to the county, we should certainly have those conversations in the weeks and months ahead before the governor, whoever that may be, whether it be Mike DeWine or Dan Whaley, gets elected and proposes their next budget next year. So those conversations are starting in earnest right now, but At the moment, it's relatively slow, and we are keeping our tabs here at Highbridge on, and I've talked to a couple of you about the EMS issue, making EMS an essential service. I spoke with Representative Click's office earlier in the week this week, and I think, I don't want to speak for them, but I think they are going to take the lead on actually drafting something. I'm not sure that we've heard definitively that the EMS Association is, but once we have some draft language to look at, I certainly will send that over to you to review as well, and we'll see if it can't be something we get together here in the months ahead.
That would be good, because if that could be initiated from his district, it certainly would be a positive thing for us to push forward. That's great.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If there's anything, of course, that we can do, especially during this downtime, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're glad to do it.
Would it be a good idea to contact Senator Reineke to see if he can get a similar bill for Senate approval?
I think it would. I think that would be, I think that'd be a very big benefit, and it'd probably be at some point a good idea for he and Representative Click to talk and look at next steps. Now's the time to start those conversations. I think if there's going to be action by the end of the year or early next, so no doubt.
But you haven't reviewed any language for the proposed bill, right?
I have not. I've not seen anything from the offices yet.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, the only thing that I would emphasize would be with Click's office, you know, if they would have a conversation with Ken up this way to make certain that everything he feels comfortable with including is included. And he might, I don't know if they have an association, Mike,
They do.
Oh,
of
absolutely.
EMS, so, you know, it would be
Yep.
good maybe to meet with that group.
Yeah.
From a Click standpoint, to get in that bill, the language that they feel comfortable with.
Good idea.
That sounds absolutely happy to coordinate that.
yeah, that's my only comment, Mike, would be that I think Representative Click is looking to you / us commissioners for a little, and now we could add Ken to that conversation. Some support in getting this done. So I think they want to do it, but if I heard you right, you're waiting for them to give you round one of language. When I was talking to him out at the fair, I think he was waiting for us to initiate something or maybe give him round one of the language.
Right.
Provide a
So-
roadmap.
Commissioner Curtis, I met with Ken
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago.
I talked to
We have a
Representative
list
Click.
of legislative priorities, stuff that he's worked with OEMSCA on,
Yeah.
that we're gonna send off to Representative Click, so.
Okay, so can you coordinate?
Yeah, I'll work
Mike? Yeah.
with Mike and
And
with
then,
Ken.
so that makes sense, because I think he's waiting.
Yeah, and we've got,
Just
I mean, there's
information.
some really good stuff that, you know,
So
Ken and I
good.
needed to work through the details, but we're gonna get that stuff off to their office. So I'll work with Mike, work with Ken, and we'll get something to Representative Click.
And Mike, have we made any progress with the higher level meeting with ODOT?
Yes, in fact, I spoke to, let me pull up her name just the other day. Let me pull that up. I was actually going to reach out to you today because I know that they recently came in to meet with you and talk about some of the items moving forward. Oh gosh, I apologize. I don't have her name, but I did speak to a woman who's one of the folks in your district who said they would be glad to do a meeting here sometime soon.
Okay.
So if and Stacy, I could work with you, or Commissioner Kirschner, certainly with you, on dates that would be good for you to meet and have some discussions. They're glad to do it.
Yeah, because I'd like to check Mayor Don's and Eric over in Fostoria's schedule, and have them be part of that discussion. As a matter of fact, we might talk about, you know, bringing economic development people in too, just to get a better scope and more input.
Absolutely. And the person I spoke with is Casey Young. And she's not necessarily the person that will be there. She is the Capital Programs Administrator for District 2, works directly under Deputy Director McCauley. But they'll assemble all the right people for the meeting, so I think we could get that together here in the next couple of weeks.
Good, okay, thanks.
You bet.
Commissioner Kirschner, can I also recommend that you invite the members of the Transportation Improvement District for Seneca County to that meeting, as they are key people in funding for transportation for the county as well.
Okay.
So that would be wise to have those people.
Mark, Julie,
Mark, Julie, both the mayors and myself were on that board.
We're just trying to make it as high a level as meeting as possible. Mike sits on the transportation board. Mike, is that right?
Yes, I'm on the Transportation Review Advisory Council. That's right.
Okay. All right, well,
Okay. Anything else? Anybody else?
Not seeing anything in the chat. This is your last chance if you'd like to come forward. I think we're good.
Okay, thank you. So the only thing left on the agenda until noon, we have a guest coming in at noon, is a work session. So I'll just ask the two of you, want to take a brief recess, come back in, and you want to jump right into the work session and then maybe break at quarter
what do you think the
12?
work session is, half an hour?
Yeah, I don't think it'll take us too
And then we
long.
can just take a recess all the way till noon. You want to do that?
Quarter after 11
We'll
maybe
keep
or
going?
something.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's just keep going.
I'll
and,
get it out of here, yeah.
Then, okay, great. So I'll just we'll just go around the list to make sure we're on the same page here, Stace, as to how we want to go about the process. But we had a list that Jimmy and John Loxton and Stacy put together. We went through the first 10 items on our list. I'd like to circle back, maybe go over those,
Okay.
get an update from you, and then get into the next 10, which would include a public safety building and all the things that we're kind of talking about. And we could just pause and interject anybody that wants to.
Well, I think, just, and John and Stacy and Jimmy did a lot of work, but I think that the results of what we need to have happen used to be a Christmas list, and now it's become more of a reality because of the money that we have from American Rescue Plan.
Smaller
But,
list.
many of those items were brought forward when we did strategic planning and a lane, if you will, of that strategic plan was to look at future needs. And most of these things were on that conversation for the last few years. So kudos to John and Stacy and Jimmy for working it up, prioritizing it. If memory serves me, we really came up with 30 projects. And I think if we listen to the electeds, it's more like 115.
Yeah.
But we got 30 projects and then prioritize them. Again, I know this sounds like a broken record a bit, but we want to make certain that when we spend the money that's been dropped on us, for lack of a better way of saying it, from the American Rescue Plan, that we don't incur any items that will cause us additional expense operationally into the future. In fact, and indeed, I think what our goal would be is to be more efficient. And if we do put up some buildings, to make certain that those buildings are less expensive to operate than the buildings that we currently have. That's a no-brainer with the ag building being as old as it is. So this stuff will certainly be more efficient. So we want to make certain that the money is spent wisely and that 5 years from now, when we take a deep breath and look back and say, what'd you guys do with the 10 million bucks that you got from American Rescue Plan, that we can point to a number of projects that would not have been completed had it not been for that, and that money is spent wisely. So that's kind of a summary of where we're coming from.
Couldn't agree more.
I think Mike nailed it on the head. I mean, we made a priority list, we weighed them out.
We're done.
There's some needs we need to get filled here, so we're gonna discuss them all and go from there.
Yeah, there's a couple housekeeping things. So as we nail down the projects, we need to get the money in the capital account. And so, unless anyone objects, let's just scrub the last 10 because we authorized some things that did not have numbers next to them, right? That we said we were going to do, and so I'd just like to get an update to see if you have hard numbers or if you're working on it, that kind of thing.
Right.
'Cause that does eat into whatever money
Right.
we're talking about.
Yeah, just a little
lot
more.
of these Go ahead, yeah.
A little more clarity with the money.
Yep.
10.7 million,
Yeah.
Close.
10.75.
1.5.
Okay, so over the last 2 years, I think that second payment has been made now to
Yes.
us, right?
Yep.
There were some restrictions on that American Rescue Plan money, but by reimbursing the county for some expenses that were allowable, that money went back into the general fund for capital projects that we don't have any restrictions on. So some of the projects here, just so there's no confusion, may not have qualified under the American Rescue Plan, but they do qualify for spending under county capital projects because the money was spent for qualified expenses and then moved to capital projects. I think that pretty much sums that up, does it not?
Yeah, the federal, they came back down to say basically anything under the 10 million
Plus
could
they
be.
loosened the guidelines.
Yeah,
In addition to what you said.
Yeah, it's basically revenue replacement up to 10 million. So that has helped out our county, numerous counties, cities,
Right.
to be able to utilize that money a little bit better than some of the restrictions that they had initially put on it. So, but we had gone through some of this list, but we hadn't transferred any of the money yet. So that's kind of why, we want to kind of revisit this. The only money we had moved was for the initial EMS station that we had talked about. We've got, the engineer had a couple projects, juvenile probate court had a project. Those are all put in place. The only ones, the main one on the top of our list was the ag building. So I don't know if you just want me to kind of go through this list, or do you want to talk about the ag?
I'm gonna kind of tally as you talk.
Okay.
And then
So-
we'll get into a couple other big buildings.
Aaron, what did the city end up with? American Relief Plan money?
1.846, I think.
And what did they do with that? They put capital projects?
Yes, so 700, I'm going to use rounder numbers, 750,000 went to the inclusive playground at Hedges Boyer Park that's being constructed. 350 to 375 is going to a new ambulance that was necessary. I believe a new special response team vehicle, so basically the SWAT vehicle for the city, was funded through it. But yeah, almost everything was exclusively capital items. We
Yeah,
did-
so you two will be able to point to that and say, look, this is what we did with the money. We have real concrete,
Yeah,
either
we
equipment or.
specifically stated not
capital.
personnel or reoccurring expenses. It had
Yeah.
to be one-time capital items because this is one-time money.
And none of that increased your operational expense.
Correct, and if it did, it was very minimal, maybe extra paint on the playground equipment occasionally, something like that. That's all it would be.
Right.
Yeah. No operations.
Great,
Yeah, and I think
nice job.
how he started the conversation, when we replace a ventilation system and a generator that was from 1940s, and we're actually lowering the cost, operating cost of our facilities as well. So that's a benefit. We're getting some things done one time, but we're going to save utilities and maintenance for a long period of time into the future. And so I think we've kind of kept that in mind with the majority of the money. We did approve, and I forget what we called it, payment to all the county employees.
Premium payment.
It's called premium pay. It was a one-time premium pay to county employees out of this money, which qualified, and we did that early on. So,
Was that ARP or was that CARES?
No, ARP.
ARP.
yeah, and then beyond that, I think.
CARES had to be hazard pay, ARP had to be a premium pay. Different.
Good point. We have two different
Yeah,
talks
well,
of
yeah,
money. We had
yeah.
CARES money, we had ARP money. It gets confusing with different restrictions and came at different times, so.
Yep. But we have closed out CARES, we're done with CARES, that money was all spent, so we're done with CARES.
Well, just as a reminder, a number of different agencies disperse the CARES money. United Way, Economic Development, WSOS or GLCAP, Fostoria, et cetera, actually
Yeah.
manage that. They did a great job. And I think they're all closed out with that now.
Yep.
Do you know, Adam, are you done with your CARES?
We're getting through the closeout. We're
Okay.
finishing up collecting
Good.
information from a couple businesses.
But that helped a lot of people. I mean, it went for utility bills and housing and all kinds of things across the county.
And so, as we begin this work session, I want to make another comment. There's still a thing called grants, right? And so what this process has allowed us to do from all across the county, I won't name anybody, but that's basically get your capital projects together, form your list from all the electeds, all the departments. His term has been coined, get them shovel ready. Keep those current, keep those as a priority, and then when grants come along and funding comes along, and sometimes you don't see it coming and there it is and you have 30 days or 90 days to react on it, we're in a position to do that. So what we're trying to do, I think, here is invest, spend, or distribute, however you want to word it, some money that we have already into key projects. But we also have, as commissioners, as well as electeds throughout the county, this list is still a valid list, and we need to keep that as a priority. And maybe in the future, commissioners, as we go through annual budgets, we can tackle some of these priorities. And others can file for grants.
Well, to further support that, again, as Aaron knows as well, the more of a match you can make on a local basis, the higher the odds are that you'll receive the grant. So,
Okay, must have somebody.
what do you got, Jimmy? Somebody trying to jump in?
Yep.
So, if we make application for a grant with the state or the Fed, and we have 50% matching money or 25% matching money, the odds become much higher that we'll get priority on the application as opposed to those who don't have much of a match. So keep our powder dry, as I say, for a period of time as the cycle of grants will bring itself. And if we get things like, the ambulance district or the EMS to be considered an essential service, that'll open the doors to some grants, and it's just it's a house of cards, and then we'll be able to match with some money here to be able to get some assistance for that.
Like Mike was saying, the governor wants to see us have some skin in the game, so he's right.
Yeah.
So do you have any projects that you want anybody to look at?
Well, I just, we've met with RCM. We met yesterday, kind of reviewed the plans for the EMS building. We've kind of talked about some placement of the ag building. So I didn't know if you guys wanted to kind of look at those, maybe.
Well, since you mentioned the ag building, what I'd like to do, if we can, is get a date together to meet with the people from Ohio State and the ag folks, because they've got certain priorities. Before we can really go forward with that, they need to tell us exactly how much space and what kinds of things they want.
Mm-hmm.
So if we can maybe, Tony, get some dates put together to get that all coordinated.
Yep, I got a contact now.
Okay, so we can move that forward. But as far as the EMS, well, do you need any authorization for any additional funds to do some architectural work?
Well, to do architectural work, unless we are going to, so initially the ag building was obviously just that, as ag. There was some discussions about our barns. We've toyed around with, do we try to repair them? Usually every storm, something's coming off those buildings, so we're getting, insurance claims with those buildings. So at one point, we had talked to, John Logston, and we talked to Beth out there at Soil and Water, to maybe include, or even a separate project, maybe eliminating those barns and putting in one big barn. Another one of our projects that didn't make the top 10, that, not sure if you want to move it up any, was the public safety building. We've talked numerous times about trying to get them moved. whether they be a part of the ag building or, you know, keep them separately where, in a building where it could be the squads, you know, the sheriff's extra equipment, John's extra equipment, you know, something like that. So the architects kind of went over some options on
Just for a
those.
couple minutes, talk about that.
Well,
It'd
you know,
be nice to have them out there at the county campus or close to the sheriff's. What do we do with the old building?
All
The-
that,
which-
all
the-
that. Yeah, it's a good question.
The barns?
Well,
No,
no,
the
public
ag
safety
building.
building.
Oh, the public safety building?
But we're talking.
Oh, the fairgrounds?
ag and
Yeah.
public
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if we move them and put them out there at the county campus.
Yep. I know when Holly was still here, when we first started talking about moving that building, she had approached the fair board and they would be interested. And I think, Tony, you've since had maybe some discussions with them that they're still interested, which it makes sense because it's on the fairgrounds. We do have to have an easement because our tower's there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to
yeah,
keep
that's a
that
receiving point
easement.
for all the 911 as we talked
So
about yesterday.
Commissioner-elect Frankert's in the back. So at that, where the EMS public safety building is at the fairgrounds.
Right.
Our fiber for the 911 system goes into that building, and we have a tower there. So if we vacate that building, we're gonna have to notch out a section or a corner to maintain that. And then what we do with the rest of the building, you know, we can decide, i.e. fair, however we go about it. But it's not gonna be as simple as we just completely vacate that building.
Right.
So, yeah.
So we're gonna have to work on that a little bit,
Right,
right?
so we know that the fair board would like that building, and we can figure out a way to get that done. Now, as far as the south campus goes, I
Yeah,
think that we really have to have a vision here. We have to have kind of a 10,000-foot look, because if we're putting a new ag building up, and if we're gonna put a couple of new barns up, and if in the future we wanna do an EMS thing, we just don't wanna start plopping them down. We wanna make certain that the, you know, that
Placed
the ingress and
strategically.
egress are good, and that the buildings are close proximity, and that maybe we can share some parking lots. I mean, any number of different issues when you've got all this space. We've got plenty of room, you know. It might be that we want to get into our farm ground and actually put the new complex up where there isn't any other buildings. I'm not saying that's the answer, but it is another possibility. So, rather than put a building here and a building there and a building over here, because we happen to have empty space, I think there ought to be a vision here. You know, there ought to be,
Plan.
yeah, and maybe EMS needs to be connected to the ag building. You know, maybe the barns will be better off located at a different location, that they've got easier access to them rather than have to drive around buildings. I don't know the answers to all this, but I do know that I think we need to put a plan together to understand exactly how that campus would look once the new buildings were put in place.
And I think we've had Gossman had done a master plan for out in that area.
Right.
And it was a general master plan for all of our buildings. So we have that plan. Once we hired RCM to go out there to kind of try to find a good place, they came back with some recommendations on placements where they thought placements of the building should be. So we do have a plan
we all
there.
have to look at that.
And then we'll have to look at that, you know, because there was a couple places, you know, the county garage is out there, and there's space behind his fenced-in area that he keeps his stone, his salt, his dirt, everything out there, that he said, you know, he'd rather not limit his ability, that if he would like to do it, or if the future engineer needs more room. So I think that was one of the first spots that our CM kind of suggested would have been back there.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to be landlocked.
Right, well, one of the things that we've discussed in open meeting for a number of times is that curb cut on 224, if we could get it, right? The state said no, but they haven't said hell no. So maybe if we use it specifically for EMS ingress and egress,
And the sheriff's station.
they may, and sheriff, emergency work, maybe we'll have some luck in getting some progress there. But, I mean, the best entrance to that campus for the emergency guys would be off of 224, and the quickest egress to get to a situation would be off of 224,
Do you
right?
want me to
So-
show you any of the plans? Or
Yeah,
do you
yeah, I
wanna-
think so.
Yeah, I think
Like,
so.
just
I
kind
think
of-
so. What we did is we started with a concept. This is you look down and there's the concept of our campus. And then when you call an architect thinks of things like traffic patterns, parking, water, sewer, green space. So well, we have that input right now from their eyes, and it's a good point. We haven't decided anything, but we're thinking about starting to come together.
One of the very simple fixes for anybody that's ever tried to find anything out there is that it's difficult. If you haven't been out there before and you try to go to the dog warden's office or JFS or veterans, I can tell you that the first time I had to go out to those things, it's like, where the heck is this at? And, why do I go down this road?
Good signage.
So, well, not only way signing, which is a great idea, but also, somehow for the roads to connect to each other, so that when you go from one to the other, you'll be able to understand where you're at. Everybody knows where the sheriff's office is, everybody knows where the jail is, but beyond that, it's a good hunt.
Real quick too, before we dive into this, just the discussion about the barns. If we are gonna demolish those or take them down, they're worth money. There's companies that will pay you to come dismantle those, so I don't want to just see them burnt down or demolished. But if we do decide to get rid of those barns, I think
Go through a process.
You got blueprints for the new ag building?
They're worth money.
You got them on the wall.
So we'll start with the red dots. If I could just interject, since we're kind of taking a 10,000 foot view. The red dot, I don't have a pointer, but where the star is, that point that you see where ODOT is, you know how everything comes to a point, Mr. Bradwell, you follow me? Okay, that's a tough intersection for buses, and so what we're proposing, and the county engineer is working with us, and ODOT was in here, and they're cooperating, is that we come straight out, and we basically cut that point off. Okay, so you'll just come, you'll be able to go to School of Op, Job and Family, and instead of turning left and going all the way out to the point, you'll just go straight, and then you will stop at 100, look left and right, and get out. So that's huge. In doing so, the county road that goes all the way back to back to Opportunity Park, the School of Opportunity, Engineer Zimmerman has agreed to help engineer and work with us on widening that and securing that. That road needs a little bit of work, and that is a county road. So that no matter what we do with any new buildings, that in itself will be a huge help, and will also take some stress off of any new traffic that potentially will occur as that campus develops. So we'll just start with that. Stace, do you want to add anything to that? Did I say that right?
Yep, yep.
Okay, and then as you look at the engineer's office in the middle, just want to make a couple comments as we go into roads. You'll see some shaded areas, and then Engineer Zimmerman uses these roads to, they're basically for him, okay? They're not necessarily public roads, to get his equipment in and out, and there's different uses for that. And we asked if we could vacate any of those, and I think at this point, the answer was no, other than that strip, that little strip where the point is. I think that would go away right there.
No, not that one, it's farther.
It's the one, that's why Beth's here to help us out. The one to the top there?
There you go, that one to the right.
Yeah, okay.
That one here? I think.
No, the
Mark-
one off to this,
Inches off.
there you
That
go,
one?
that, yes.
Yeah, okay. So that would go away, everything else would stay and mainly be used by the engineer. So, as we, I guess let's just jump into like an ag discussion building. Who wants to take the lead? Stace, I'll turn to you.
Yeah, and I don't have Gossman's up here, but I think the initial high-level overview with Gossman was to put it like behind Job and Family Services building, and you see a couple little gray and a yellow spot behind there. So, but that was a higher level. We weren't quite getting into any details yet on size. And then we had hired RCM to come in. You know, Beth has been wonderful to help us kind of coordinate some of the things that she thinks the departments would need. So the first kind of thing that they came back with is to put the ag building back behind the engineer where all this stone and stuff is. So you can see up top, that was their first thought. And then obviously the red dots at the top would create a new road, which obviously would create a new expense. So I think when, you know, kind of meeting with the architect yesterday, just to kind of get an idea, maybe shifting that around more towards, you know, where the current ag building is now.
Okay, so here's a concern, Commissioner, I have with this. We paid significant money to Gossman to do a master plan and to tell us what the flow would be best out there. And then when we decide we're gonna do a building, we pretty much scrap what we paid $35,000 for and move it to a different location that isn't part of the master plan. So my point very simply is maybe we ought to have them look at it again, the original folks who did the master plan, to make certain that that kind of fits in to an overall vision for that site, for that area. I'm not trying to be negative or positive. I'm trying to say we pay for a plan, they come up with one for us, and then when the time comes to actually implement a building, we don't put it where that plan says makes the most sense.
Well, I think that was a concept plan, and I don't think he for sure said that's where it's gonna go. That was just a proposed plan. But all those squares are basically either green space.
Potential spots.
I mean, we put anything we want on those green square, and then if we tear the ag down. Now, it's probably worth calling Craig Gossman and saying, you know, why did you, what was your thinking and what's behind it? I think part of it was, at the bottom here, part of it was, Commissioner, we were going to come in this way.
The pointers won't go on the screen.
Pointer won't go here, I'm sorry. So if we put the ag building here, we were gonna come in, the county owns this building, or this property, and maybe put a parking lot here, or do some sort of a drive-through, and then a trailhead back into the park, and work out an arrangement with the Park Service.
Yeah, well, my only point is, we put buildings up there in the past just because we had open areas. That isn't necessarily the best way to do it. The best way to do it is to put them in areas where maybe you can share parking, maybe the ingress and egress are much better, maybe future cut from 224 makes it easier to get to them.
Down there.
Whatever the reasons, there are some reasons to look at as an overall plan, rather than to just start building buildings that may need some infrastructure improvement into the future.
And I think, and Beth, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but having the building where they had initially put it over there, after talking to the School of Opportunity and talking with the engineer, having the ag building in that same area with the flow on the county road, it would be too congested. I think that was part of the conversation with RCM when
With
we
the
had-
School of Op lets out and all that.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
because, you know, they're gonna be coming in and out there, then if the ag's there, we're gonna have trailers and trucks coming in, you know, to come in and see Beth. So that was kind of their thought process on maybe that's not the best place to put it, because we're gonna congest that one road in and out. I think was their thought process.
I've been given that additional information. I guess I would ask again Gossman to take a look to say.
If I ask him, he's gonna charge me.
Yeah, I suppose, but I
ask him.
Well, here's the thing, you know, we spent.
You can ask him, maybe he won't charge you.
We spent $30,000 to get a master plan or whatever it was, and then we pretty much just
Well, I
throw
don't
that
know. I
in the
mean,
drawer.
he has
Certain
a-
circumstances
he has a lot
change,
of
the
good
needs
things on
change,
there.
and then
He has a lot of good
we didn't
things
know
on
this
there.
money was coming at us.
No, I know things change, I get
You
that.
know, there's a
But-
lot of good things.
But I
on
hate to
the
just
plan.
abandon that overall plan and put a building in the middle of something that wasn't part of it at all.
Okay,
If
so,
if I can interject, if I remember correctly, as we were going through the building master plan, Craig had discussed that there would be an egress, if you're just looking at the picture, we're gonna go left, we're not gonna go north, south, east, west, we're gonna go to the far left, over by where the old juvenile detention center was, and that was supposed to be for the, trailers and semis and
Where I
larger
was
equipment, where you were pointing. So that would have been the entrance and exit area for that, if I remember him explaining it correctly, because we went, like Commissioner Kirschner said, we went through a lot of effort putting that together and talking to the ag department, and Craig spent a lot of time looking at all these different sources and ways we could do things. So he did have an alternative option versus using that county road that they would put in another area, and there would be a parking area back in there. So I think it would be in the best interest to look at that, at least look at what he had again and compare to what you have. Like Commissioner Kirschner said, you spent a lot of money on a really great master plan. You do not want to waste those dollars.
yeah, which would include coming in there.
I mean, this is all positive here. I don't, this is
Yeah,
just
no, that's-
logistics that we're talking about.
that's why we're
talking
doing
about
this.
wanting to do a new
We
ag
wanna
building,
vet it
right?
out, yeah.
And we want to do it in the best possible location, but we also want to set this campus up for the future as well, and give it some forethought.
I'd like to sit down, see, write down what are our issues, what do we want to put back there, how do we get it,
Yeah, we got time.
we've got plenty of room back here. It's not, I don't want to stack everything together like sardine cans, personally. I don't like too much congestion.
Well, the design and going through that with the ag building is not gonna slow up. We have time to figure out where we're gonna put it. Meaning, we can do both at the same time, right? We can continue to talk to FSA and fine
And we
tune
should-
the
yeah, we
building. But the discussions here more where we're gonna put it.
We should engage, Lou and Beth and the sheriff, and Mark in the discussions, because there may be some things that we have no idea. You guys are the ones that are out there every day. You know how easy it is to get in and get out and get to different buildings. We don't know that, we're not out there. So there may be issues that could be fixed, while we're in the process of doing this.
It'd be nice to get everybody in the room and kind of get their input.
Yeah.
And they were all in the room.
I was just gonna say, from the previous perspective, everybody has been in the room, and we did decide as an internal group, maybe not in front of all of you, but we did decide as an internal group that the master plan was a great concept, but it included way too much infrastructure investment before we could implement the master plan. Because it did include additional cul-de-sacs, it did include additional ingress and egress roads, it did include additional access off of 224, it did include a bike path and a facility for a bike path to be stationed there. And that was all just way too much infrastructure for us to be like, oh, then let's plop an ag building over here in hopes that the infrastructure can come with it. Mark wasn't on board with it. Lou wasn't on board with it. Beth was like, yeah, it doesn't make any sense to put me over here in somebody else's already perfect parking lot and then have to have trailers and trucks come somewhere. So while the master plan identified we need ingress and egress solutions, we need marking and way marking, we need to make a big plan as what you're seeing next. And as I agree, Mike, it was a lot of money spent to get to those thoughts. We also realized there's a reason we needed an update. And we needed to think through where this building's going. And that's where we're at, is we're still all talking about what is actually best out there for the campus. The campus just looks a little different than what Gossman had prepared, but it is fitting more now, and we're still thinking into the future with only one small ingress egress change, not 4 of them, as Gossman's had
The only thing I
suggested.
would suggest at the initial meeting is that we ask Gossman or somebody from Gossman's to be here to see if there's any
We can do that.
tweaks
I'd
that they would feel comfortable with.
I'd like to see us have a work session with all the department heads out that way. Our group, I agree with Mike and having Gossman there, but sometimes you gotta make alterations to plans, but I think things have changed, but not necessarily for the worse. Just, let's get everybody in the room and have a work session.
Oh, it did, and I don't disagree. Beth, just to add to what you said. That red dotted line along the top would be a new road, okay, behind the engineer's building. A new access road to get to whatever goes in that green quadrant. And then where I pointed earlier, we would need a new road cut. You know, it's just more than throwing stone down back in. And I know when you talk to the engineer, he just doesn't like that stuff if you already have it. So that's one opinion that we already got, so.
Okay, so let's break this down as to what steps we need to take
Yeah.
to get to the point where we can get a good architectural drawing and know where we're gonna place it. So what do we need to do to get there?
Well, we've engaged an architect who has, who's in the process of working on the building itself. More information's needed to figure out exactly how that building, the square
Okay, so
footage.
where would that
et cetera.
information come from?
We're waiting on a meeting with, as you opened your comments with Farm Services. We need FSA to,
The extension office needs to be
Stacy-
included.
Stacy
all that.
has a contact there. They're gonna be the big tenant. That's USDA, that's Farm Services. Soil and Water and Ohio State Extension will be part of it. Beth has up to now been leading the point to get the 10,000-foot view down to where we're at.
That will include a location,
No, that's the size of the building, so that, I'm breaking it down now. The
But-
location of the building is next.
but I assume the architectural drawings would be dependent partially on the lot.
But I think that to finalize them, that's correct, parking. So the architect's saying to us, where do you want to put the building? We don't have that decided yet, that's why we're having this discussion.
I think we're a little far away, so we
Okay, so you can put
need to
that
start doing
first,
some
the
things.
location first.
Right.
You want to do it that way.
Well,
I don't disagree with you.
I think that we, whatever we need to do to get to the point where we can say, okay, architect, draw something up for bids. And I don't know how many steps we are away from that, but it seems
Okay,
like we're a
let's do
few.
it. So we need to settle on a location. I agree. Okay. We need to,
Get all the players
Get all
together.
the
and make sure
players,
we're doing what we need to do.
we need final input from FSA because we're gonna enter into a long-term lease with them.
They're not gonna give it,
And,
just to be candid. I think we circle back, we talk with Gossman, we reconvene internally, the group, and we can then talk. The architect's been waiting for us to give them input back, and we know the next steps, Mike. No offense, but it's just been a summer of chopping this. And when
Well-
I reach out to the architect or have input from the other ones, they're out for a week, then I'm out for a
We
few
can
days.
talk
and
afterwards
stuff.
with FSA, because what we don't want to do, they're gonna be real restricted on what they want.
For sure.
So we don't want to build something and then go talk to them and have to rip the carpet out and,
I just want to make sure we define what steps A, B, C, and D are to get to the final.
and if we need to, okay, back to you.
No, I think we have it. We talked to Gossman, we have an internal meeting, we have the architect, we bring the plans to you. And the only reason that hasn't happened yet is again because of the summer schedule that all of the entities are operating on, but.
Okay.
You guys.
All right, well, we're anxious to get near the finish line, so.
Me too.
Okay.
And it also makes a difference because some of conversations up to this point, it's been, the public safety building moving out there. So are we just looking at an ag building location, or we need to develop a public safety where we have room for the sheriff's needs out there, a conference room? So that's just kind of where we're trying to talk right now.
Yeah.
And get the architect, he gave us this much so far. We gave him a few ideas, but we needed to bring it to you, wondering if you guys are set on something. We have no idea what the cost is. That'll be their next thing to do, but.
I think what we're set on is we want to get this done.
Right.
We've done a lot of work. We have a concept plan, the Gossman did. We've talked to all the players out there. Everyone knows we want an ag building. Commissioner Kirsch's point, once we build it, it's there forever. So we just want to take this last time to really do everything you said, go back around one more time so we can all agree. That's where it's going to be. And then let's get it done.
Yeah, I don't think there's any decision we want the EMS building to be out there.
Right.
So,
I don't know if we're gonna do it now or at a later time.
Right,
But I
but if
do
it's an
know-
option,
But we wanna
we
make sure,
gotta-
right, that's why I say the master plan is important, because we need to know exactly where that building is probably.
problem
gonna
is
go.
with that is that we asked Gossman to put a location out there for EMS, public safety building, and he did not include it.
Okay, that's a problem.
That's a problem,
Yeah.
yeah.
so we're talking two things, right? Where we're gonna locate the ag building, that's gonna generate all kinds of positive traffic flow, roads, input, but we have to settle in on it. It's not like we're starting from scratch. We just need to get some finality to it.
Just gotta refine it.
And then, I agree with you on the building, we're closer on the building design than we think, but you have to dot our i's on that. You two can work together, okay? Let's bring in public safety. So, we define public safety, I think, as everything located in that building out at the fairgrounds. It's kind of a lingo that might be used. So that's EMA, that's the ECHO unit, EMS, and
911 backup.
911 backup, what's that room called? It's called 911 backup. EMA, what is it?
EOC,
EOC.
Emergency Operations Center.
Emergency Operations Center, there's a fence in the back, we've got a couple trailers and things out there. So if we were gonna move that here, where would we put it and how would it look? Discussion was that we'd have a big metal building and we could put EMA on the end. Everything you see at the fair would be on the end. And then there would be a bay, a garage door for soil and water. There'd be a garage door for the sheriff. And there'd be a couple garage doors for John Locks and the county storage. And then we could tear down all those barns and move off the fairgrounds and just get rid of everything that is a maintenance nightmare and really isn't as efficient and good to store things. So the EMA building will then /be whatever we want to call that. County, pick a word, Bill, county storage or, let's call it that.
Maintenance building.
Maintenance building, okay? We could have one nice steel building, everything's centrally located, we get rid of all the stuff that's really costing us a lot of money. The roof blows off that barn, it was $20,000 to paint the barn, it's just never ends. So, we've asked John to go to work on that and get back to us with the size. And so that process has begun. And so at minimum, I agree with Commissioner Kirschner. I think we ought to say, when we build it, this is where it's gonna go, this is the size of the building, and we have that in agreement. And we can continue forward with all our discussions. But we don't have that in the master plan. That's not out there.
So do we think that it's unreasonable to say that we could have specific enough architectural drawings to take this thing to bid by the end of August?
I feel like that'd be an architectural question, because I don't know what their workload is.
And we would have to make decisions.
How we go about it.
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, if we tell them they can go ahead with where they're at now, then they could probably do it relatively quickly, but we weren't convinced that that would be the best place to go.
Okay.
So, but we will keep pushing.
So his point, your next question is, when are we gonna have the next, how are we gonna keep this thing moving, right?
Just get the players in a room.
Yeah, I think, to have something ready to go the first meeting in September then, not necessarily for bids, but at least that should be our goal.
Yeah, I
So we
like
can
it.
keep track of it, don't lose sight.
You're good with it. We all wanna,
Oh, yeah.
we have to put a time frame on it. Yeah, I think it's healthy to triple check everything before we do it. So we can circle back around with everybody one more time and settle in, that way all of us are comfortable. And, let's do it.
Okay, what's our next building?
So I'm not gonna plan to move any money for this.
Yeah, I
The whole
think-
conversation was basically to.
Yeah, I mean, we could do estimates, right? And then
Yeah,
if
because
we
I don't
get
have a
more-
final cost yet. I think we kind of threw in 2.5. Having a very generic conversation with a contractor kind of threw out a
Square
number.
footage and-
So we had kind of set 2.5 for that, but we haven't moved any money yet.
2.5 million?
Yes.
For the
Okay.
ag
How
building.
about just hard costs of stuff, or soft costs, I should say, for drawings and renderings?
All
and
that money was in place,
All that money's in place?
We've done all.
just
So-
to get us to an estimated number if we
I don't
wanted.
think it would hurt a bit to put 2.5 million from the,
General fund.
from the general fund to the specifically for the ag building.
Okay.
I like it.
We can always adjust it, so I'll make that motion.
Well, I can just, let
You
me
can
get
just do
it
it?
in the system.
Okay.
And it'll be ready for next week, because
All
I'll
right,
have to
that's
do
good. Do you think that's
supplementals
the
and
number,
different things.
2.5?
Yeah, and if we, need more, if it's not even that much, then obviously it'll already be at our capital improvement
Okay,
fund, and we could use it for something else.
okay. fair.
Hopefully costs start coming down soon.
To his point too, do you have money to engage in a public safety discussion now that we've kind of, so we've had to internally get our arms around what a public safety building is. So we basically, instead of just duplicating what's at the fairgrounds, we're going to kind of thin that out, bring over what we really need, and then we're going to add in this maintenance discussion, which would get rid of all the, we'd consolidate
Yeah,
everything.
I've got money in place.
So do you
that I
have money
can-
in place to
If I
have
need to
them,
add extra, I can do
have
that.
them start working on that with John's size and Beth's input? We need to get that sized. John, yesterday I talked to him in passing, he's getting a little bigger on what he wants. But now it's time to talk about it.
Well, let's look at a building that's already drawn up. You got one of those?
Well, I mean, we have one that's kind of drawn up for this one, but.
Good.
I know.
But if you want to go, one that I think we're pretty much further along would be the public safety building,
The EMS building?
or the EMS,
You have that?
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we met yesterday, so.
Let me get that one up here.
Taylor, this would be
The property.
one of the 4 EMS buildings. Okay, we've settled in on a design and signed off on it yesterday.
Make this a little bigger.
That's drawing one, that's the one we agreed on.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So this would be the basic design of what.
I have it here because I can't see that far.
Yeah, if you guys need I have another hard copy if you guys wanna,
I still can read it.
you guys need to look at it.
Yeah, okay.
I think this is about 2,400 square feet. Jimmy, do you know exactly?
Don't.
It's here, but I can't see
Yeah,
it.
you got this one?
Well,
Yeah, the
You wanna see
elevation.
the-
That's a little easier on the eye.
Yeah, show the
That was
elevation.
sweet.
Yeah, it looks great.
there you go.
So it looks like a 95, yeah, these are little, 95 foot by 47, 47.4,
4,500 square foot.
yeah.
4 or 5.
Yeah, on the high side.
Yeah, Commissioner Paradiso's worked with one of the hospitals who might want to put a medical office there, and this has the availability on the front left there to
We
get a
could
little kick
expand
out. To put 300 or 400 square feet up there for a medical office. An urgent care kind of deal
Yeah.
for the
So it's
people in the
expandable,
community.
for sure. Lot would obviously accommodate that. Commissioner-elect Franker, we're gonna go to the township trustees and see if we can get a nice sign and a flagpole contributed from all the trustees in the districts maybe. It's just kind of a fun thing, right? That it would really help possibly use some of your CARES money. But we'll, dress it up a little bit, and I love it. It's very efficient. And Ken's looked at it numerous times. 2 bedrooms, great quarters, got flex space for training, kind of like this room, everything you can take out and put cots in, you can put tables and chairs in. We like it.
So they said they could probably have an estimated cost by the end of next week for this.
Yeah.
So, I know we initially set $750 aside for this. Didn't know, you guys have mentioned at many of our EMS meetings about 4 different locations. If you want to take any of the money and set aside for that now, if you kind of want to wait, because if we don't set it aside, it may get used for something else. Didn't know if you wanted to kind of take that step to set any more aside, if you want to wait till we
I
get
personally would.
set it
I
aside.
think 750 is a good number for each of these. We're gonna find out, like you say, once we build it, but we think 750 is land, it's everything.
I'm happy to do that, but I would want to wait to get a cost estimate
Okay.
on this
Why don't we do
building.
that? Yeah.
Because the number could be 7 or it could be 8, right?
Yeah.
So let's see what our cost estimate is.
And then we just,
Franker, you get to pick out the color.
there we go. And I like that, and
But put it on the agenda for next time.
Okay,
and whatever the building is, we need to add some money in for land, and
Right.
so what we
Yeah.
did here is we added 100,000 in, and that's it's parking and stone and excavate and
That's what I mean. I don't think we
land
know what
and-
the all-in cost is, so.
Yeah,
you know,
so
we
that's a
want-
good point. Let's
yeah.
try to,
I think
At
they're
least do it
I
by-
think they're having a deal right now, buy 3, get 1 free.
Really?
yeah.
I'll take
It's
it.
pretty, this is good stuff, so. Okay, anything else?
I do have a follow-up with, we had the architects over, they took initial look at the museum, and so
Yeah.
I do have a Zoom call with them today to kind of get a preliminary, what they were thinking, so don't have a lot of information on the museum, but they have got started. The museum, of what we talked about, is doing some HVAC, obviously air conditioning, dehumidification. Adding that would have to do some rewiring to the building, so I'll have,
They didn't give you any round numbers on that, did they?
nope. Nope,
John
not yet.
pulled 100,000
I think,
out of
yeah, I
the
think
sky.
John kind of
He just
threw in
pulled it out of the
100.
sky.
I don't know.
That doesn't sound like enough,
They
yeah.
still have knob and tube in there in places.
Yeah.
So, this makes total sense. You can't put all new HVAC in a place like the museum when you have 100-year-old wiring. So, it's actually the other way around. We have to rewire the whole place first, and then we can have what we need to put the new system in. And of course, because it's a museum, you want to maintain some integrity of, receptacles and switches and lights. It adds a little more planning and cost to the process, but John Lawson's on top of it. He's got it, and he's working with the architects to get that priced out. And we've set some money aside for them to draw that up. Because you can't attempt a job like that, time and material, it'd be there for 3 years working, maybe. So we're gonna get it where we can bid it.
What else?
So that's, that would be the museum. I think we've got money in place for the other project. Still waiting on the duct cleaning. They're just far behind in their scheduling. So we're still working on that. We got money, youth center, signs for the CSB we've set aside. So other than the museum and the ag, in the top 10 that we did, those are the ones that we would still need to kind of set money aside for. But there again, we're not quite there, but we always want to make sure we set the money aside, because if it's somewhere else, it's in the general fund, and it tends to get used. Now, we did skip and do a few of the projects on back. We did the sign for the Justice Center, and we ended up doing the poll books for the Board of Elections. But those, we did put money in place for those. So those can be kind of checked off on our list. And I think a few weeks ago, I had mentioned both the sheriff and John Spar and Ken had asked where on the list is they're getting them to be able to go digital. City of Tiffin went digital, Fostoria went digital. Obviously, it takes a little more to communicate now with the sheriff's office and EMS not being on the same. So I
What's the
think
number on that?
I got about 87,000.
Okay. Can we go through, just so I can visually see this, not this moment, but before next week's meeting,
Oh yeah.
the dollars that we've set aside?
Yep.
The dollars that we're requested to set aside, and things like that
I
that
would
you
like
think
that.
need to be done. So, 10.7 million, here's all the minuses.
Yep.
What do we have left? Like you say, before it disappears into operating.
Yeah. Because obviously this is something that John, Jimmy, and I had worked on, and
So that 87.
everybody else, their projects are just as important or more important.
sure.
So they're giving me.
Well, like I said, we have 30 that we identified and 110 by the elected, right?
Yep.
And it, yeah, okay. I got you.
But I can put your spreadsheet together that shows that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm like you, I got it. You know, I'm boosted.
Well, I just,
really see it, you know.
we talk about 2.5 million here, 750 there, and
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
just kind of.
I'm kind of, did the locks get replaced out there? The juvenile?
Sure.
Youth Center,
Yeah,
Youth Center,
Youth
yes.
Center, they did?
Yep, we put money aside for
Awesome.
that. They're finishing that up now.
Okay. Good stuff.
Yep, we're still, knock on wood, our HVAC and the RTA is still doing good. Chiller at Job and Family, that's on the list, but it's still working. So,
Yeah, if we could quantify those as much as possible.
yep. We have some numbers in here, but we'll put it
Right,
into
yeah,
a spreadsheet for
Yeah,
you, so it's
that would be
easier
just
to.
easier to see.
Okay.
Just so everyone knows, we're only to number 14 on the list, this discussion, out of 114, so
And we're not gonna go over those all
we're not
today.
gonna go through the
No.
whole list, yeah. Okay, so I think we're making some progress. That, it's, I'm looking at this as we're resetting, right? We gotta bring everybody in, get all of us up to date, you included, and, of course, and, now we have a sense of urgency. I mean, let it be known, the ag building is the number one priority. We wanna get that done.
Okay,
So,
Unless
with
there's
that,
anything
we go into
specific?
recess.
Okay.
Is that good with you? So we'll take a recess. We'll be back at noon and
It's the proclamation last order, or
To-
last.
to recognize our guest, state champion, and then we'll adjourn. So you're
I thought those were the final plans. We're good.
free
No,
to go.
sorry.
We'll get there. Right. Okay, welcome back to St. County Commissioner meeting. We have a guest with us today, and Commissioner Schuff would like to recognize you, and I'll let him do the introductions, and we'll go from there.
All right, well, glad to have you here. We have a proclamation here from the Seneca County Commissioner's Office. So this proclamation is for Sharon Jones, the 2022 state champion in the 100, 200, and the 400 meter races. Whereas Hopewell Loudon High School's Sharon Jones won not one, but 3 state titles in the 2022 Division III state track meet. And whereas Jones's hard work, dedication, and talent were apparent as he was the winner in the 100, the 200, and the 400 meter races at the state meet. And whereas Jones had an extremely successful track career, and his efforts and accomplishments are well respected and will be remembered. And whereas the Seneca County Board of Commissioners has great admiration for Jones and wishes to congratulate him for a day to remember at the 2022 state track meet. And now therefore it be resolved, we the Seneca County Board of Commissioners hereby to officially recognize and congratulate Sharon Jones for winning 3 state titles. In witness whereof we, the Seneca County Board of Commissioners, have hereunto set our hand to this proclamation, this 28th day of July in the year of our Lord 2022, Commissioners Mike Kirschner, Anthony Paradiso, and Tyler Schuff. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Now, would you like to come forward, please? Maybe introduce your guests, tell us what your future plans are.
Come
You're
on,
fine.
yeah,
Wherever
come
you-
step
yeah,
up on the
come
gamut. Come on.
I'm Sharon. That's my mom. That's basically it. And then I'm going to UF to run. And yeah,
So where are you headed?
University of Finley.
Finley. Okay, awesome. When do you leave? Pretty soon?
Moving dates the 11th.
What, just for fun, what's your daily routine right now, as far as workouts go?
Workouts. I go to Finley with my trainer, Cal Patterson. He trains a bunch of people. It's like we have like a little club called Push Athletics. We go there Monday and Fridays are like tech days, like to get technique down, and then Wednesdays are hard days. Like yesterday we had a hard day. We did like 250s, and then after that we lift, and I go home, eat, and then shower, and then go to bed.
If you don't mind, come on up for a photo.
Ronnie,
Mom, you wanna come up, Mom?
Let's go.
Yeah, come on,
Photo,
come on
we'd love
up.
to have you, man. Yeah.
Come on, Mom.
I know you, but I can't think of your first
I'm
name.
Justin Wyman. I'm on the school board at
Yeah,
Hopewell.
Justin.
Come on up.
This is
Yeah,
about me,
we'll
guys.
Yeah,
we gotta go back here. We're
No,
gonna
this is
move these.
about, but thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for coming. And congratulations. We're proud of you. You represent your community
Thanks for
well.
making the community
Thank you.
proud.
Scoot over there so we get in right in the middle of everything.
Run center, right?
Oh.
Come on
There
in, guys.
you go, yes.
Yeah.
Did you run track? Did you
No,
run?
I,
Okay.
I didn't. I was played softball.
Softball.
You're an
What
athlete,
position?
though.
Outfield.
Outfield and
catcher.
softball.
Mom's an
Gotcha.
athlete, yeah.
All right, guys. 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna do one more. 3, 2, 1. Awesome. All right, thanks. Good luck at Finley.
Thank you. So Commissioner Kirschner, we're going to join you on Monday mornings for your workouts.
That would be interesting.
Can we do those Zoom?
I don't think you guys will actually do the workout.
Are you on a strict diet, Sharon?
No.
No? You just
A
kind
strict
of,
diet of pizza rolls?
you just need carbs.
College
Chipotle.
diet. Monday,
Yes,
Chipotle.
yes.
I'm on the same diet.
Chipotle, whatever his mom will make it, right?
So you need carbs because you're
Yeah.
Burning them off.
Yeah. Well, we'll keep an eye on you in Finley.
Yeah, they need to get a sign out there for you when you're coming into Bascom or Hope. I mean,
Because you'll run
Three
a
times
TU
deep.
too. You guys will compete at TU.
Just remember this, once you finish your college career, there are lots of good opportunities in Tiffin and Seneca County and Hopewell Township and all that out there. So whatever field you choose,
Yeah,
think about staying with us. You're a great young guy, we'd love to have you back.
that's awesome.
yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, gentlemen.
And
Appreciate it.
proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And we know,
Golf with,
mom, there's always a good
Brian
mom behind.
Hodge yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, proud mom.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Definitely. I'm gonna miss it.
We need to
when he
adjourn,
goes.
Jimmy?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll come back.
That's
and
the hardest
adjourn.
part.
He played way too good yesterday, so if you see him, Ask him,
So,
you know,
we'll make a formal-
Wednesday out of Mohawk.
I will do that.
Tell him, little birdie
Thank
told
you.
you. got lots of
Thank you
money.
for coming.
Thanks, guys.
Commissioner, you do a nice job on those proclamations.
I move for adjournment.
Hey, I got old business.
You don't
Got
even.
old business.
Oh, yeah, why don't you slow down there?
I still move for
We
adjournment.
passed old business.
Yeah, we're way past that.
Commissioner Schuff does a nice job reading those proclamations, so I say he continues to do that. Okay, hearing no more.
Hey,
Got old
wait,
business,
hey.
just hold on a minute here.
Hey, I filled out an application to
Okay.
rescue a bulldog. There was 50 applications.
No,
I
no.
made it in the top 3, so
Nice.
I'll know here in another week or so. But
To do what?
to rescue
You're in the top
to
3?
rescue a dog. There's a dog rescue thing here in Ohio. It's an English bulldog, but out of 50 people, I'm in the top 3, so I'm in the running right now.
I'll find you a dog. You don't need to make.
I thought you were gonna-
I got.
What is this bullshit? In the old days, you want a dog, you just go got one.
Hey, I'm trying to.
Oh, we're still essential.
It's a rescue.
That's all
dog.
true.
It's a
Sorry
rescue.
about
dog.
This long, it's okay.
I thought he was gonna say he got a hole in one.
Yeah,
Oh.
there we go.
But, no?
Okay,
we got-
I move for adjournment.
Hey, I want to keep meeting.
We adjourn.